Hello everyone, my name is Clay, and welcome to another episode of Terminally Nerdy's Indie Impressions, the show where I take a look at independent and non-AAA titles, giving you my quick first impressions after at least 2 hours of gameplay, because hey, if it's good enough for most of the major online retailers for refunds, it's good enough for me. And today we're going to be looking at a game that I actually streamed back when it released about 2.5 years ago, but I have since cleaned up my YouTube, removed the stream, and I figured it'd be a much better experience if I put my thoughts about this game in a video. So I reinstalled it, played it for about 2 hours again, so I'm up to about 6 hours now, and decided to make this video. And that game is Orion, Legacy of the Coryodon, which I don't want to mispronounce here. This is a side-scrolling action RPG platformer set in a sort of fictional, very heavily African-inspired world and developed by a studio down in Africa. I want to say Cameroon. And in this game, you play as a husband and wife / king and queen pair, Enzo and Irene, or E-R-I-N-E. I always call her Erin, or Irene. And essentially what's going on in this game, the story of this game is, on the day of Enzo's coronation and wedding to Irene, a coup is staged, and they are essentially beaten up and exiled. And the two of them decide, really Enzo decides, that he must have his throne back for the people of Zama, the country that he was supposed to rule and got exiled from. He is told by his basically combat instructor, the person who rescued him and got him out of the country, that in order to gain enough power to challenge the current now leader of Zama, he must go on a journey to essentially discover himself. He must discover the 4 pillars of his spirit that wrap around his core ideal of honor to awaken the full Oronic power within him. And Irene, his wife, goes with him. Now, on this journey, you're going to be going through areas in a side-scrolling, platformy sort of way, talking to NPCs, visiting shops and upgrading your gear, all the standard trappings of an RPG, and it feels really, to me, like a spiritual successor to Legend of Mana. The art style is hand-drawn. Pretty much everything's hand-drawn as far as I can tell. Effects, backgrounds, NPCs, the works. And it looks really nice. However, there's some issues I have with the animations frequently. They're kind of stiff. You can tell this is a group's first game at times. For example, one thing that always drives me nuts is the walk cycle. He walks much faster than his feet move, so it's a little jarring at times. And other than that, visually, there's not a lot to say. I mean, you can see it, it looks good. One thing I do want to mention is during conversations, this is a nice little touch, both the dialogue boxes will have a headshot of the character speaking, and that headshot will change. That profile picture will change to show their emotions. So when Enzo is angry, you will clearly see him angry. When he is thoughtful or confused, you will see those emotions on his face. Same with his wife Irene, because she does speak during conversations. Additionally, they have body language on their sprites. So when Irene is feeling a little kind of put out and upset with the way Enzo is treating her, and very early on he is a jackass to her, she will frequently hold one arm in that and like have her head down in that kind of pose of like, please don't be mad at me. And eventually, thankfully, he does learn that he is taking out a lot of his anger out on her, and he shouldn't be, and he apologizes. So he's not an asshole for long, but he does kind of start as a dick. But he shows growth, and it kind of shows growth into the mechanics of the game. So you'll be doing these 2D explorations, going left, right, up and down. There's jumping. There's some limited wall climbing. There's an early wall climbing puzzle that teaches you how to do it. It's pretty basic. I played the game with a controller, by the way. You can play with a keyboard and mouse, although I haven't tried it. What else is there? Music is good. Music is fantastic, actually. I really like it. It's definitely got a feel for the kind of culture and world that they're setting up here. I really enjoy it. And there's no voice acting, really, except during cutscenes, and I use air quotes around cutscenes. They're kind of in-engine cutscenes. You'll frequently hear what I'm guessing is the native language from where it's made, which is like a French-African combo. It's not in English. I have no idea what they're saying, but they do say things during the cutscene sequences with the yelling and the screaming. In fact, when you see the cutscenes, one of the first things that pops into your head is Dragon Ball Z. And when I streamed it, the developers watched me, and they confirmed that one of their inspirations is Dragon Ball Z, so don't be surprised at that whole thing. Now, gameplay outside of exploration, you'll be hitting enemies and going into like a battle mode. This is where the kind of Legend of Mana comparison comes in for me. Legend of Mana had a similar thing where you would see the enemy on screen, and when you got too close, you would trigger the fight, and you would go into like a battle screen. This one, it's touch the enemy, go into a battle screen. So if you're good, you can jump over enemy sprites, you can completely avoid them if you don't want to fight them. But in a fight, it feels very much like a 2D fighting game. You don't really go anywhere but left, right, and then directly up and directly down. There's no movement across the like floor, essentially. And you have some very basic moves here. You have an X button, which is your attack button. Does basic combos. You can do combos in the air, and you can air juggle. I frequently get enemies up into the air in a corner and just beat the crap out of them. It's hilarious. You have a jump button. You have the Y button, which is, when used in conjunction with your left stick, will activate special moves. And then you have the B button, which will activate your aura moves. The aura moves are only active when you activate one of your auras. So, when we were talking about honor earlier and the pillars of the soul, these are your auras. These are basically kind of awakening his spirit. Essentially, in Dragon Ball Z terms, he's going Super Saiyan. That's what he's doing. He just has a couple of different ways to go Super Saiyan. And at the end of this, you'll see me unlock the second aura, which is Wrath. So he starts with honor, and when you activate honor, your mana bar, although they call it your AP bar, will slowly decrease. Attacking enemies will refill it. Using your Auronic abilities will lower it faster. And if you ever completely run out of AP, you drop out of Aura mode. Items can be used to refill your AP bar, as well as your health bar and your stamina bar. You have a stamina bar because you have a block and a dodge. Blocking is right button, and dodging is right trigger. Your left button will switch between the item menu and the aura menu, which is up in the upper left corner. Your D-pad actually is what activates whatever menu you have active between aura and item. And one thing I like is the items will actually have an arrow that's colored that will show you which stat they affect. So like your healing items will be green, your AP items will have a blue one, your stamina ones will have a purple one. Purple? Red? It's purple or red. I can't remember. So it's real easy to tell which thing you need. Additionally, if it gets too low, the edge of the screen will suddenly color in. So like if you get really low on your mana, the edge of the screen will turn blue, warning you that you're low. So there's a lot of indicators that tell you visually what the hell's going on without having to stare at your bars. And then your left trigger will actually bring your wife into the fight. So what you'll do is you'll press and hold left trigger, and then press up, down, or left, right to trigger one of your wife's abilities, and she'll pop up in the battlefield and do something for you, and then leave. She can be damaged when she is brought in, and if she is knocked out, she will be knocked out for the rest of the fight. So you gotta be careful with using her. Her first ability is a heal, and I know she gets spell casting and other stuff later, so it's pretty nice. But overall, it's a fun little game. You know, I enjoy the combat system, even if, again, the animations are a little stiff. They're not the most fluid things. You're not getting Cuphead here at all. But the game's not really designed for that. It's telling the story of Enzo and Irene and the growth of Enzo as a person before he goes back home to take what is rightfully his back. And the bond between him and his wife is built during this adventure. I truly think it is worth the $15. It is available on Steam. Again, I can't comment on the keyboard controls because I play games like this with a controller, so keep that in mind. But yeah, definitely pick this up. Definitely play it if you can. It is a fantastic game. And I hope to see you guys on the next episode. Thanks. Hey there, I just want to say thank you for watching this video, and a special thank you to all my patrons who are listed over there on the right hand of the screen. If you want to get your name in those credits, feel free to check it out at patreon.com/terminallynerdy. And hey, be kind to each other and stay nerdy. Thanks.